The National Regulator for Compulsory Specifications, together with the South African Police Service, the National Consumer Commission, and other stakeholders, has launched a series of high-impact enforcement operations in Johannesburg aimed at rooting out substandard, counterfeit, and illicit goods. The surprise raids are targeting businesses suspected of trading in products that fail to meet South Africa's safety and quality standards, with authorities determined to protect consumers and hold non-compliant traders accountable. To expand the conversation, we're joined by Duncan Mutengwe, who's the General Manager of the National Regulator for Compulsory Specifications. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time and welcome.
Good evening to Mpho, and good evening to the viewers and listeners out there.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. What prompted this latest enforcement operation, and why was Johannesburg perhaps identified as a priority area?
As the responsible regulator, we have been having various strategies in addressing compliance of products that we regulate. Then coming into this financial year, we had identified about 15 districts in South Africa that we wanted to target and ensure that products that are found in those markets continue to comply with the requirements. Of course, taking into consideration that compliance, in as far as our regulations are concerned, means the protection of the safety and health of the public.
And perhaps just looking at the scale of the actual problem, what did you find when you went into these businesses? And perhaps in that search, how serious is the level of non-compliance?
We actually tell ourselves that the presence of non-compliant products in the market actually tantamount to regulatory failure. And we are obviously concerned with the fact that we are finding a very high number of non-compliant products in the market. This actually talks to the fact that when the country is up in arms and complaining about illicit trade of product, it actually talks to what we ought to do. And this is the reason why we feel that the approach that we have used coming into this financial year will take us into a very good direction in ensuring that we have a market that complies in South Africa, and ensuring that people are actually protected from the harm of these products.
Perhaps, talk to us a little bit about the types of substandard or illicit products that you're specifically looking for during these inspections, as we broaden the discussion on how serious a problem this is.
The type of products is pretty much into the scope of the work. In other words, why the NRCS was actually created. At the center of the mandate of the NRCS is to promote the obligation of government to promote safety and health of the public, as well as ensuring that we protect the environment. In addition to that, we have to ensure that there is fair trade. In other words, products that are traded in the market should actually speak positively to the consumers who are actually procuring these particular products. In other words, there should not be any short measures. If you pay for a certain volume or a certain quantity of products, that's what you need to actually receive. So we cover products across various sectors. That will be in the automotive, it will be in the electrotechnical space, it will be in the chemicals, construction industry. It will also be in the foods and associated space, inclusive of canned meat, processed meat, fish and fishery. But the wider range of products that we cover would be within our Legal Metrology Act, which actually goes about, as I've indicated, short measures in terms of the products that are supposed to be traded. It talks to the packaging and also the devices that are used to measure the quantity of the products that we procure. For instance, if you are to go and procure 2 kg of meat that you would like to buy, we want to make sure that you are actually receiving that 2 kg of meat that you actually procure. But in essence, all these products that I've just mentioned, the reason why they are regulated is because of failure to regulate them. They have serious risks in terms of the health and the safety of the consumers.
So, what about the notion that some consumers deliberately buy counterfeit, pardon me, or cheaper, non-compliant goods because they simply cannot afford the alternatives? How do you enforce the law without perhaps losing sight of that very real economic reality? Because it would require some sort of a balancing act.
Yeah, that is quite true. Although within the NRCS, we don't normally use the counterfeit product as perhaps maybe the way to determine whether a product is safe or not. There are possibilities that a parallel product similar to perhaps maybe one from the OE, but not infringing in terms of the trademarks, could also achieve similar qualities in as far as tests are concerned to prove compliance with respective standards. What we are concerned about as the NRCS is where a product has not been tested and found to be compliant with these regulations that we enforce. For instance, where you refer to as a counterfeit product, for us, we would say it's a non-compliant product because it has not gone through a rigorous process of being tested. It has not gone through a rigorous process of being verified by ourselves as the regulator to ensure that it's safe for consumption by the consumers.
And that very
So many
rigorous
a times,
process of pardon me, of
yes,
being tested and verified is very crucial, because as we
yes.
look beyond consumer safety, how much damage is the illicit market doing to legitimate South African businesses that are complying with the rules, paying their taxes, and ensuring that they do due diligence to the processes that are needed in order to sell products to consumers?
Yes, of course. I mean, if whoever is selling a product that has gone through that process, chances are they are finding they're getting their products into the market much cheaper because they will not be exposed to regulatory costs. I'm saying testing these products obviously is not free. You have to suffer some costs as business to ensure that your product is safe for consumption. So these products that perhaps maybe a consumer will find cheap in the market, the message that is written on the wall for them is that it has not gone through a verification process to ensure that it is safe for consumption. I think that is one question that the consumer needs to ask themselves. If I'm finding this product cheaper, it means that it has not necessarily gone through the necessary and rigorous process that I've just mentioned.
And that is a
So
cause for
yes,
concern.
yes, it is indeed. And as the regulator, of course, we are concerned as to, how are these products actually finding themselves in the market space.
So, what happens to a trader once you discover that they are selling prohibited or non compliant products? What processes happen at that point? Because you've come together, it's a collaboration to make these uncoveries to ensure that consumers are better protected.
Yeah, what is good about this collaboration, Mpho, is that we go there with various mandates. You've mentioned SAPS. There are other regulators as well, like the National Consumer Commission. There's also SARS Customs, who sometimes will join us in other raids that we do. There's also a Department of Health and Economic Development as well. That will also come with their various mandates so that we can complement each other in as far as the legislation is concerned. Where we're coming from as the NRCS and what we are mandated to do is, upon discovery of these products that are non-compliant, we will then confiscate them. In other words, we'll remove them from the market. And the decision will come from the NRCS as to whether this product needs to be sent back to the country of origin. Of course, if they were imported into the country, or they will be destroyed by the NRCS, of course, to ensure that these products don't actually go back to the market.
And very quickly, before we let you go, what should consumers be looking out for when purchasing products to ensure that they are buying goods that meet South African safety requirements? Because, I mean, in some instances, we've uncovered that there's a lot of fraud when it comes to impersonating a certain product that the consumer would come to expect because of the packaging, only to find that it isn't the actual product that they have come to know, because it's either been, remade or mixed in a way that doesn't comply.
Yeah, I think that happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
And what we normally would advise to our consumers is that products that have found to be compliant with the requirements, normally they will be issued with what we refer to as a letter of authority. In other words, the responsibility of the NRCS would be to say, a manufacturer or an importer, before they can trade these products, they bring those products to us together with documentation that establishes that this product has gone through that rigorous process. We will then issue a letter of authority to the trader, which then can be used as a means of proving that such products comply. In our regulations, there are requirements, although it doesn't span out to all the products that we regulate. There are requirements for marking that must be on the product. For instance, if you are to look at plastic bags, we normally make use of an example of a plastic bag because that is what is normally used on a daily basis. If you are to look at the plastic carrier bag, there is an NRCS LOA number that appears there. It's one of the ways of actually verifying that these products have actually gone through the NRCS's process. Another product that we can also mention is the cement that is used obviously for building purposes. It will also have an NRCS number there, meaning that it has gone through the NRCS processes. Other products, we make reference to South African national standards. So you will find that these products also bear the standard that is reference in terms of the compulsory specification reference, relevant to that particular product. Other than that, we encourage consumers to reach out to the NRCS in case of when they are in doubt, so that we can be able to provide assurance of the fact that these products have actually been approved or gone through the NRCS's process.
Very well.
We are also working on ensuring that all the products that we have actually approved are uploaded on our website, but that is a project that we are currently working on.
And that would be very helpful. But thank you so much for speaking to us this evening and giving us that clarity around this process. Duncan Mutengwe, who's the General Manager of the National Regulator for Compulsory Specifications.